Thank you for participating in our pledge of allegiance. We really appreciate that. This meeting is now called to order, Marion. May we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Mitchell?
Here.
Mrs. Mahoney?
Present.
Ms. McCollins?
Here.
Ms. Cohen? Mr. Taylor?
Present.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
And Mr. Taylor.
Present. May I have a motion for, you see that, Marion? You see it? Yes. May I have a motion for the approval of the agenda, please?
I move that we accept the agenda as printed.
Second.
The motion has been moved by Mrs. Nominee, seconded by Mr. Turner. And there's no bunch of things I'm supposed to say, according to our little training. So the motion has been moved. Go ahead, Bridget.
Mrs. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. McCollins?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Mrs. Taylor.
Yes. The floor is now open for public participation. All that the board asks is that you give your first and your last name, and if you don't mind, your address. You are allowed 3 minutes. Okay, so if there be none, we'll move on to our discussion items. Under curriculum, we have the Benton Harbor High School Freshman Orientation, the Summer Academic Jumpstart Program, the Benton Harbor High School Summer Credit Recovery Program, and the floor now yields to Mrs. Patricia Robinson.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
We have for you tonight 3 proposals from the curriculum department. The first one is the freshman orientation, and in your packets behind section 1, you see that information. This program is for incoming 9th graders. They will have an opportunity to become familiar with the building, learn and practice school behavior expectations, review and adjust schedules if needed, start their career path through curriculum cruiser, and develop positive peer relationships with other 9th graders who attend. This program will address the goal of improving behavioral outcomes that will create a positive learning environment for students and positive teaching environment, a positive teaching environment for teachers. The input from last year's staff was that it was a very positive program for students, and the parents and teachers felt that it was very useful and beneficial. 9th graders will be invited, incoming 9th graders will be invited based off of the list of 8th graders coming in. The strength of this program is that students gain familiarity with the school, layout, develop positive relationships, develop positive and strong relationships with the high school staff. Then they have a positive beginning to the high school. Concerns is that we may not have enough staff because the program was very positive last year, or students might be involved in this program this year. And then also our freshman development needs, staff will just review and kind of build upon the program that happened last year. This program will run August 22nd through August 26th, so it's just a 1-week freshman orientation program. It's Monday through Friday, and it will complete at 5 to 4 o'clock. We have budgeted in our Title I budget for up to 8 teachers. Transportation and materials are all included in Title I. The people who will be in charge of this is Ms. Ross Bowman. She ran the program last year, and she did the first year.
Yes, I have, first of all, I want to say that I'm not against this program, but I have numerous questions. And I will submit them to you so that we can get back the answers back to me before we end. I do have one though that I would like to be answered. The teachers that will go through human resources, that will be posted, so all teachers will have the opportunity to apply.
Correct. So that's the same thing.
Mrs. Nominee?
Okay, what is the rate of pay on those teachers? Is it standard for contract?
It's standard for contract.
Because when I'm adding up the number of days times the number of hours, I'm coming up with a different rate of pay. Okay. Well,
However,
I'm reading, not here.
$14,000 is a lot less than what it is budgeted for in the Title I budget. So if it goes over a little bit, that's okay. But I would double check those numbers again.
Okay, and then it says the data of last year's program was very positive, and students, parents, and teachers felt it was beneficial. However, we don't have any actual data.
So no.
How are we solving that problem?
So this is school and climate and culture basically data. So this was basically a survey of word of mouth. And this is, I got input from Mr. Golden, and his information, and also the freshman parents thought that those kids coming in were very a lot more acclimated to the school. Especially those parents who had students in previous years. So the data that you're looking for is hard data, is academic data, or you're looking for retention data.
And you vote, how many students participated last year? Was very many. Oh, it's quite a few.
Yeah, and then if you remember.
So what was the number?
I don't know the number. I don't know. They presented to the curriculum committee way back in December or November sometime for this summer.
Yeah, but they didn't have any dollar amounts or anything available to us.
But I can get those numbers for you, and if you email me along with Ms. McGowan, I can get those numbers for you.
So if I could add a suggestion, I was thinking what we can do, from what I heard is, Omni asked if we moving forward. So what I could propose is that we work together to identify how to make it work, right? And then through the subcommittee for curriculum instruction, we'll share that. And then we will, assuming this moves forward, implement a process that will provide data for whatever program that we use moving forward. But also a suggestion was made, we can also look at our students from 8th grade to 9th grade, right? And see if do some comparisons there to give you information on BHAS. But I think to your question, we want to be purposeful and how we measure it, so that when we say it's successful, we have some data points that can back that up. So I think that's a reasonable question, and I think it's absolutely something that aligns with how we plan to move forward. So,
Do we have any more questions regarding this particular discussion item?
Madam President, I just have a comment.
Yes, sir.
I think for me, I think the dates are August 22nd through the 26th, correct? So it's just 4 days. It's just an orientation.
It's 5.
Or 5 days, so it's an orientation. For me, I'm good with it because it's just an orientation. It's not like the students were doing something right that needed data. We're just getting orientated to the high school. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a comment. Wasn't there already somewhat of an orientation where the 8th graders came to the high school already? That's something different.
That's something different from this. They signed up for classes, they were shown the CTE programs at that time, they kind of got involved in some of those activities, so it was a different type of orientation.
Oh, okay. And are we doing a similar orientation possibly for the 6th graders the 5th graders, I guess, is going to be going to now a new middle school. So we're going to have middle school this fall, right? 6, 7, and 8. So are we going to orient those 5th graders into the middle school environment?
we have not had a discussion about that. I think that's definitely something we can write down and take a look at, talk to our administrators and see what they think.
So you're just.
So the next item is Jumpstart. And in your package, you have the staff report. There is another package that says please add to curriculum.
Just a second. Oh, okay, yes, okay. All right, okay, all right.
And so for the Jumpstart, what we would like to do is offer a 2-week Jumpstart program to start off the new school year. program will be offered to all K through 8th grade students. The program will run from August 15th through August 26th, from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday. This program will support both district goals of improving academic achievement and social behavior. The program will offer age-appropriate learning activities focusing on math, reading, and writing. These activities will be hands-on and engaging for students, which will increase their learning excitement for the start of the new school year.
Do we have any questions or comments, concerns regarding the staff report?
Do we have a location?
So this will be located in all of the buildings, so we will have the K-2 building open by then. 3-5 will be, well, the K-2 will be up all, 3-5 will be at STEAM, and then the 6-8 program will be at ACA.
Mr. Officer, one question I do have that I haven't seen in any of the packets. Do we plan on operating summer food services?
Yes, yes, so, I am in communication with Ms. Ward now regarding that. We were just waiting on approval of the program. So the summer programs will have food service to those students. Now, we're talking about the summer park program. I don't know if you're talking
Well,
about that.
yeah, I do have summer feeding, this was all one and seven, but I haven't seen any information on operating summer food, and we usually do that in June, so that the program can be started by the time school is out, not only in the parks, but in our program also. So, do we plan on summer feeding?
So I will check into that. I know for our summer programs, we are offering the additional pieces of parks. I think that we'll have to check into more.
Mrs. Momini?
Do we have an estimate of how much we're willing to spend on this jumpstart program?
So in the back, an estimate.
How far back?
No. It should be not more than $150,000 in 2 weeks.
And how many students?
Our goal is 300 students.
Tell me, short-term memory loss. What was the dollar amount again?
$150,000.
Okay.
You'll get this right here.
150. 300.
Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate that this summer food program is very, very important.
Yes.
Our kids rely on these meals during the summer, and without them, many will go hungry. So, I don't want to just put this off. So someone needs to take the ball up and let us know. And if we have to call a special meeting, to approve it, then let's do that.
Wait, is that allocated already in the budget
Which one?
for this year? The food service for the summer? Has that been an allocation within the budget?
We have to check on plans for that program.
And I'll take the responsibility, I have written that down to find out more. It's an area that I'm not familiar with, but I'll quickly become, so, and I will ensure everyone.
Historically, we have always operated summer food.
Yes, and it's usually a federally funded summer program.
Yeah, okay.
It's through the USDA. And it was a break-even program, but
Yes.
since we have the production kitchens and the transportation to deliver to the parks, we've always operated the program.
It's always been budgeted as far as I know, unless someone has now removed that line item. Do you have any further questions or comments or concerns regarding this particular jumpstart program?
So I have a question. So Mrs. Robinson, looks like this Jumpstart program, it looks like it runs concurrent with the freshman orientation. So
we'll have to pull those 8th graders out of that program. Or even offer it just to the K through, the current K through, 8th grade students or current K through 7th grade students within the 8th graders.
So so
No, actually, it's all coming from me.
it's all.
It's all coming from me, so the only thing that you'll see that's kind of overlapping is the high school freshman orientation and then the K through 8 Jumpstart program. So that's the only thing that's overlapping. Yeah, that's the only thing that's overlapping.
Mrs. Mullin?
You would have thought since the 8th graders are available for the freshman orientation, having this K through 8 be for their current grade, so the new kindergartners would come in
Right.
and get a taste of, so there would be an overlap.
Right. So that's kind of what I was trying to explain.
Any further questions?
And the final item from the presentation is the summer credit program. In your packets, your quick packet. Put their packet. This is the credit recovery program for our high school students who are currently 9th to 11th grade, which will then involve being 10th to 11th grade students. They'll have an opportunity to gain credit in courses of reading, math, science, and social studies. They have failed or need additional support. Credit audits will identify students who will benefit from this program. This program will run through an online program called Odyssey, which the current students are familiar with. This addresses our goal, the district goals of increasing achievement for our learners and also career and college readiness for our students. This program will help to decrease the dropout rate and increase the graduation rate by giving students additional opportunities to earn credit or recover credit.
Do we have a certified teachers?
We have certified teachers, and what we'll do, if you look at the bottom of here, the program will run July 11th through August 19th, and it'll be from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So those teachers, those certified teachers will be able to participate in the professional development, and then also come in and teach the credit recovery program.
Yeah, that's what it is, so they just Mrs. Mullin and then Mrs. McGowan?
Just maybe a suggestion, because if we're in the same predicament that we were last year, and the number of students that need credit recovery, this would be a good project for some of our local sororities to come in and help work with these students.
Yes.
Because my understanding this, I mean, it's a way to regain credit, but it is not easy. And so it's gonna, the more hands-on people we have.
And then also we're working with 21st Century. So 21st Century is going to run their program where it lets us against ours, and then they're offering credit recovery.
I've noticed where it says data, there is some, do we have data from last year, how successful that was?
So no, we have the data to describe how much we needed. So that's the data that you have. So I don't have the data from last year's program. I was trying to follow that one now.
So, there will be for this year?
Yes.
So we will show.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll provide you the attendance and how many students actually covered credits and all of that.
You figured out our favorite word of the night.
Yep.
Mr. Turner?
Just a comment, I'm really, really excited about this professional development program. Just
Mr. Taylor?
So, Mrs. Robinson, so we've addressed the 10th through 12th grade credit recovery. What about K through 9?
So our K through 9 went through the,
I mean, at least the 9th grade, right? I mean, not credits, I'm sorry, but even makeup, right? So if I had an F in English, right, how can I make it up?
so for our 6th through 8th grade students or those students, well, what we're doing, what we've done throughout the year is actually provide interventions throughout the school year for those students. And the goal is not to retain anyone at those levels. We do know that research has shown that kids who are retained at those levels are not very successful. So we've done so many different things to help provide them with the proper support that they need to actually either maintain or improve or gain ability to go on to 9th grade. The principals are now working with teachers and addressing those concerns, those students who may be retained, and so remedial parents, setting up appointments to address those. So Right now, what we have is just this, our jumpstart.
Could I add to that and say that if you think about last night's presentation, the discussion around the advice of the academic advisory period, that's the value of that program. I think one of the most significant awarenesses would be A, because our children are struggling academically, B, moving forward, which is where we can impact our expertise. How do we try to begin to bridge those gaps? And so utilizing that academic advisement period, so we all get approval, allows us to purposefully intervene and provide supports to students who, prior to this past year, may have been demonstrating degrees of need academically. We can intervene and provide supports to get them in a position to end this school year, end the 2017 school year in a more academically stable situation. And then we will have our structures in place to move students whose data suggests they're still not where they need to be. It's a purposeful summer programming to support their transition to the next grade. So even though I would love to be able to address right now those children who will end this year with a deficit, because as we are learning, this being new learning, we are in a position to just really try to focus on how can we move our students forward at this point, so that lapse, if I'm understanding your question, between now when school ends to the beginning of the next school year.
Right, because I'm looking at, right, if you're a parent and your child has, for example, arts, and there is an F, and also say, for example, math, right? So how do I recover from that so I can move on to the next grade? Because even if you push me to the next grade, that really doesn't go.
Absolutely. We agree. Absolutely.
This is kind of like our transition period as well as new quarters, reminder those structures that we really need. Number one, our core instruction needs to be tight. And that PE this summer is really going to help that, so that it will alleviate a lot of the downfalls that our students may have in the school. So let's just think that as a transition period, as we get these structures in place right next week, we're going to have better data and better information.
Okay, thank you.
We move on to the business and finance part, and Mr. Scott Johnson will speak regarding the monthly financial reports, the workers' comp insurance proposal, the food service contract renewal, the Abundant Life Ministries proposal, the Mayflower Transit Moving Services, Head Start lease, cash flow borrowing, the SAN and the TAN, and along with the consent items. So now, Mr. Johnson, please.
Thank you. You have in the board packet the monthly financial reports for the month of April 2016. These reports were reviewed with the finance committee. Highlight just a few items on the page that says year-to-date budget report summary. You'll see that we completed 83% of the fiscal year through April 30, and we received 69.3% of our revenue budget, and we've received 62.2% of the expenditure budget. So we received less than the amount of percent of the fiscal year completed, and we spent less than the fiscal year completed. We have the other reports here along with the check register and the reports. Before we move to the next slide, I'll see if there are any questions regarding the reports.
Right now, I have a question about the year-to-date budget report. With the federal sources, we have about, $3 million left over. And the fiscal year is September 30th?
The school district's fiscal year is June 30th, and the federal government, the grant,
Right.
most of the grant fiscal year is in September 30th, but some do in June.
Okay. So, how much would you say is left in the total budget right now?
I would prefer to look at it on email you.
Because I have a figure, but I saw yours.
I would note though that we're not expecting to expend all of the grant budget by June 30th because we will have grant expenditures in July and August. review some of the unused portion for the next fiscal year in terms of, to align with what presentation last evening.
Ms. Gully, Mr. Turner, and Mrs. Martin, and Mrs. McDonald. Down the line.
Who answered my question? With these numbers? With the
This information came from our our federal grant application of Title I, so you only have numbers for Title I and Title II. So this came from our federal grant application, what was submitted. So if I can, I don't know if this is the time now.
I was just wondering if Mr. Johnson had answered it, because he said, when it's available.
And so what, right, and so what I have, that first in Title I, the 3 million piece, so that's what we are scheduled, budgeted for. And then if you look at the total allocation, you have the carryover amount and you have the total available. And then, the last number, the $800,000 number is what, we are expected to carry over. Now, as far as the expenditures, what we've spent so far, that information is not in there. So that's kind of what Scott is referring to. So this is just kind of like the bigger picture. And this Scott gives you guys a bigger picture.
What we spent, this is what we're expecting to have September,
Yes,
from what we already.
from what we've already put our budget for and then what we had allocated.
Mr. Turner?
Yes, comment. When you will recall, came in talking about zero base. And for example, if you're halfway through your year and you spent 90%, that's a problem. And one of the things we've seen in the finance committee, and again, thanks to Mr. Johnson, it's really, really good because you can see where we are. And we really have not gone over much on any of these. And you can tell 75%, we can tell it like right now, you can just see it. And that's really appreciated.
Mrs. Martin?
I have a question. I was just been very short hair. Okay.
Mrs. McDonald?
Could you please tell me check number 46570, the AG Sports Services? What was that for $8,000?
Could you repeat the check number?
46570. It's on the second page for that.
Be happy to look that up and provide that by email.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Yeah, Mr. Can you talk to, the point of what the section 311 through 391 for community services and those charges, those amounts that are there, what exactly is that? What does that include?
I believe that was for a fee, both these 311 and 321. We spent less than $250 on those two. The community activities is primarily grant funded program. And I believe that and 351 are both primarily grant funded.
Okay. Now, when we look at this, and we go section by section the way you have it, and then looking at the instructional staff, then when I look over and like central services, it seems like that's being duplicated because I still see personnel. Where are the teachers in the staff paid from? Which, is that out of just instructional staff?
The teachers are primarily in the basic program and the added needs sections. On the first page of the detailed report. So you'll see what functions 111 through 119, those are primarily teachers, functions 122 through 127 would be primarily teachers and some paraprofessionals and teaching supplies.
Okay, and then we only have one position that's in the instructional staff, which is the director of instruction. Is that the only employee that's in there, in that group of 226?
In 226, we also have some purchase service. We have the special ed director, we have the CTE director, we have the secretaries for those functions as well,
Okay, secretary, CTE,
and special ed,
and special.
and the special ed director, and the CTE director.
Thank you, Scott. Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry. Do we have any further questions from Mr. Taylor?
So Scott, I have a question, check number 46590, and that's ready Taekwondo. I saw them last month as well, when we discontinued service. So I'm just wondering how do they appear?
I'll be happy to check the backup on that for you.
No, so the Ready Taekwondo, the board and Ready Taekwondo went their separate ways. We even had a meeting in facilities as well this year concerning the same thing. I don't understand why that's on the check item.
And I don't recall another contract coming through the board. You guys recall that? Is that no?
That's right.
I mean, the program doesn't have a problem with it. And now, Scott, the last thing for school administration is 241. In the original budget, there was 724,000. And then in April, for the revision, it was 911,000. It kind of increased by $187,000. Can you speak to that?
I'd be happy to check my notes on that, but I discovered that there were some costs that were being charged to the wrong functions. They were budgeted and being charged to the wrong function early in the fiscal year. And so we moved some of the costs for employees who we found in wrong functions to the proper functions. And that include the CTE director before she was in function 127, and she's now in 226.
Okay.
I believe that also occurred with at least one or two people in the function 241. I'll be happy to verify that.
Okay, because I also looked and found over budget items for 214, the psychological services as well as the summer school instruction program. But that started out initially 110,000, then in April for the revision 254,000. So that was like a significant increase to the budget, as I thought we were trying to reduce the budget. So that was interesting. That was neat.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr.
that's one of the things in the finance committee, we found some issues that really were out of sync. And as Mr. Johnson is saying, we're now looking at that and finding out where they're really supposed to be taken from. So we found that a lot of things is just mixed together, and now they're being separated out.
Concerning Gordon Food Service, there are 5 purchases, if I get it correctly, the largest one being 2,000. Why are we buying food from Gordon Food Service? I know it's not for our needs.
Well, a lot of them are guarantees that schools are having now, where it's keeping the costs down of actually going out and hiring a catering service to come in and do that, so they're purchasing like packaged materials, things that you get parents and so on. That's one reason. And they're
So are those allocations in the individual buildings, that's part of their budget, they can use those for those reasons? Okay. Thank you. You guys have any questions? Well, I have one last question, staff. Can you speak to the $37,000 encumbrance under the instructional technology?
I believe that pertains to work that's related to E-rate, but I'll be happy to verify.
Okay. Thank you. You may proceed, please.
In June, while we're talking about budget, in June, we'll need to schedule the annual budget hearing and the budget approval. It's helpful to schedule this meeting in late June. The budget hearing and the budget approval can be held in the same meeting or in separate meetings. If it would be more convenient for the board, we could schedule the budget hearing and board consideration of the budget or approval of the budget 30 minutes before the MASB workshop on June 29th or on the current meeting.
We just potentially consider that with your calendar. I know you guys have scheduled for today. I love the phone. Okay. So we'll let you know, Mr. Johnson.
Our next topic is workers' compensation insurance proposal. A few months ago, we requested proposals for workers' comp insurance, and I'm very pleased to report that we received a very competitive price from RTW. And this price is $15,680 lower than our current provider, and it will provide a reduction of almost $60,000 compared to the current year's workers' compensation costs. So next week at the regular meeting, we'll recommend board approval of the switch to RTW for workers' compensation insurance.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
I think it should be said that the one we have is Mill Cities, and we thought we were getting a good deal, but we found it's better.
Our next topic is food service contract renewal. We have a contract with Sodexo Magic. It expires June 3rd of this year. And to comply with the MDE requirements, school districts within its food service agreements are required by the Michigan Department of Ed to submit the proposed contract renewal fees to the MDE for approval. And then after that, to request board approval of this. So hopefully we will hear back by next Tuesday evening for so we can include this for board consideration tonight. This would be a one-year renewal of the current contract.
Mr. Mitchell?
Mr. Johnson, do you have a copy of the original vetted contract?
I do not personally, but I'm sure that we do at the office.
Could you see if that's available for perusal at our operations committee meeting?
Sure.
Next Wednesday? Tomorrow? Not tomorrow.
Mr. Johnson, going back to this workers' compensation proposal, will we lose any services? The protection that's there for the board, is it equal to this service with RTW?
In my view, yes. In fact, I believe that we'll be obtaining better service in terms of our claims management. RTW has a reputation for effective claims management, and while we've been pleased with our service provider, I believe that there is an opportunity for improvement of claims management.
Will you please, sir, provide copies of that to each board member?
Sure.
Thank you.
Of that being the proposals?
The proposal, sir?
Sure.
Yes, sir. And the services? A description of
The
the
services, they will be the same, but I'll be happy to provide them.
Yeah.
We provide those to the finance committee, we'll provide them to the full board.
Mr. Chairman.
To the chair, Mr. Johnson, could you speak to the fact of one without lawsuit, Sodexo Magic, it's getting confused with a lot of people. So can you tell us which is which?
Pertaining to workers' comp?
In other words, no. In other words, the company that we're dealing with now, as opposed to the lawsuit, and people continue to mix it up. I want you to speak to the company.
Yes, the names are so similar. This contract for food service is with Sodexo Magic LLC. The lawsuit was with Sodexo, and it was not for food service, it was for custodial and possibly maintenance service.
Move forward.
Also, that means it's next Wednesday.
So you have a little time. That's always one building.
Any additional questions on the food service contract?
No, sir, you may proceed.
Thank you. The next topic is the Mayflower Transit Moving Services contract. This is part of a cooperative.
Wait a minute, hold up, Mr. Jones. Mrs. Momini?
What happens if Thunder Light Ministries?
Oh, wait a minute.
So the London Life Ministries proposal, is it in there? Okay, that is where we were approached by Commissioner Seeks, who is a member of Abundant Life Ministries and has made a request for Benton Harbor School District to consider allowing them to give them or allow them to purchase for $1 or some other amount that you may deem appropriate to bring some type of community-based service to either our veterans or those persons who demonstrate a need from a medical standpoint. They have an affinity to drugs or something like that. So the request was made. She and I met, and she shared the vision that her organization has, and that the district has with this property, how this can help us partner with our community to demonstrate the concern for our citizens and our families within the community. So she proposed that the board would consider that as an option.
Mrs. Momini?
Okay. Several questions. What building are we talking about? What, if we sell a building to somebody for $1, what guarantee do we have that they don't turn around and sell it for more? And is this a 501c3 organization?
So we did not discuss a building. I think because of the numbers, I think our initial proposal was just to even see if the board would even be willing to consider such a proposal. So those questions, wonderful, we would ensure that we looked into that and created some document that would provide protection to the district and ensure, to your point, that the building isn't turned back over.
So this isn't something we're gonna vote on next week?
It's in the back.
So it's a package that came before facilities operations already.
I would think that this is an informational item at this point in time. We still have to comply with the consent agreement and get through our real estate plan and the submittal to the state. So I think that we know what the proposal is, and they have been to the operations committee also with the proposal. But I think we have to adhere to the consent agreement, make sure we're good there, even before we can make any identification by next week. I don't think that's possible. Until we're fully compliant with what we agreed to do with it. So,
Great, we need to know that the program is holding on for one like ministries, that is reflected in the minutes, please. Thank you. You guys have, sir?
I think next week we'll be making a recommendation to approve a contract with Mayflower Transit Moving Services to facilitate the moves that are planned this summer.
Do we have a quote for the cost?
I believe that we're working on getting that, but I also believe that it's a cooperative bid, and that the quote will be based on that cooperative bid.
So we will have that figure before.
We're working on that. I'll know better tomorrow.
Yeah, it's my understanding that before they can offer a bid, they have to come out and understand how the facilities see what it is that we're saying needs to be moved. So I would highly doubt that we're going to be in a position to offer an amount. However, in order to utilize their services, we have to agree. From my understanding, we have to agree to be able to utilize it. So they can't give us a hard quote. So you have in the information that we provided to you, you have the parameters that they present, but it's not going to give you a dollar figure because they have to assess that information once they actually come out to our site to see what we're talking about, the quantity of what we're talking about, because we're talking a mass move of our entire school district. So, but we need the support of the service because we have a mass move. So we need something that is
So their payment terms are net 30. So that would be like drastic if it's like a whole lot and we don't have anything in the budget. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying the payment terms is net 30, they want the money in 30 days. So I don't want to fall into a situation where it's not in our budget to pay them and it's a large amount, and that could be detrimental to our general funds, being in the situation we're currently in right now with, the terms of our financial. What budget, we got what money budgeted for that, how much is budgeted?
Well, I appreciate your concern for our cash flow. I'm certainly monitoring that carefully. We are expecting an emergency loan in July, and that will certainly be a help to the district.
But do you have an allocation for the meeting?
I have a dollar estimate in my mind, but again, we haven't developed a detailed list of the hours that will be needed, hours of service. So my estimate is pretty soft right now.
I mean,
But
this
it
is
will
just,
be a necessary cost for us to make that choice.
I mean, this is just a suggestion. Anything that requires board approval needs to have what the board needs in order to approve. So this looks like the cart before the horse, because the estimates or the, putting together this whole deal, it seemed like there would have been something. I mean, you've given us the name of a business, and the recommendation is approve this business, but based upon what? Because the board does not have any idea if this is going to cost $50,000 or $1 million. We have no clue, and there's nothing here that even allows us to try to make some sort of prediction about what the threshold may be. So this one, if you're expecting approval next week, I'm highly suggesting and recommending that you try to get something to the board that is concrete before we can make an informed decision. You guys have anything? No? All right. You may move on, sir.
The next item is lease with Head Start. It's a one-year lease, and I believe that was discussed with the Operations and Facilities Committee some time back. This group has expressed interest in purchasing a building, and they may present an offer downstream or possibly an option to purchase the building downstream. Questions regarding proposed lease?
Yeah, that's the same figure that you guys showed us before, so at least there's been no changes. This is kind of, I think this has been before us a few times, right? It looks like the same information. Yeah, you guys have any questions or comments regarding these? No?
Thank you. The next item is cash flow borrowing, a resolution for state aid anticipation number SAM and or a tax anticipation number TAN.
Or this one? Sorry.
Cash flow borrowing, right after Head Start lease.
There's a reason.
It's right in the meeting.
This is an information item.
There's no, I don't think there's anything in the packet, it's just on the agenda.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure that I'm not cooking for cocoa puffs. All right.
Resolution will be recommended next week or later this month. So we want to let the board know that one or two resolutions will be coming for state aid anticipation over tax anticipation. Routine budget.
Yeah, that's right.
And the last item is the consent items for acceptance of and acknowledgement of grants and donations.
We always love that, right? Mrs. McGowan?
When it comes to the donations for the marching band and uniform fund, I still have people asking me where they can donate. So can I tell them to go to our website and get the information there? Or who do I direct them to?
You can have them call the business office. We'll be happy to assist.
Okay, so just call the business. All right, I'll talk to
Mrs. Momini?
And this is Gina, right now on this, do we have the capability to have a click and donate button on our website?
No, we'll find that out for you.
And a lot of organizations do have those. And we might, not know what church does, you can just click and donate, They suck it out of your back.
Mr. Turner?
That's basically what I was gonna talk about, our trust and other, trust we do with the Maritime Association churches. And it's very easy to do once we get it set up. The other question or comment is that I'm still getting questions about the Booster Club that dissolved. We never got anything satisfied with that. People just said they dissolved the Booster Club after 4 or 5 years of collecting money in the school district's name and doing things. So, and we had a discussion about that committee. So, President, I would like to go forward to actually send out a letter to these folks again and see, we went through all the information of what the rules are. For example, we, the board, cannot write any checks, or stop any checks, or do anything with the organization, but it has to be accounted, even if they were just paying themselves. That's nothing we can do about it, but it has to be accounted. It has to come through our system. In the last discussion with the attorney, like the week before last, is that we still have a responsibility because we don't know when somebody is going to come up and file a lawsuit. And it's on us, so we can't say we didn't know anything about it. So, let's have a discussion with that.
Well, keeping in mind that the board is under attorney-client privilege for certain speaking points, I have to be very careful with that. And so what I will say to that is that the investigation on other levels still continues. So hopefully that information will be able to be shared with the board in the session. Because those are still matters under investigation, as I've been told.
Thank you.
So you're gonna turn it up, you're giving it over, huh? All righty. Well, nice talking to you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Human Resources, this is Mrs. Renee Wheeler. Mrs. Renee Wheeler will present this evening, discussion topics regarding resignations, retirements, transfers, 21st century personnel, layoff of non-bargaining staff, paraprofessional staff, teaching staff, chief academic officer, rapid turnaround job description, behavior intervention room special job description, pre-K and student support administrator, as well as student services director, and ending with executive assistant to board and superintendent. Mrs. Miller.
Resignation.
I have a different. Oh, so I just need them right. I'm oh, yeah. All right. So, I mean, I'm sorry. We're the paper people. We have lots of paper, so just bear with us, please. It will also include the administrative staff in terms of layoff. Mrs. Wheeler.
I will go ahead and read resignation of instructional staff. Julia Anderson, teacher, hired 9/10/2013 and resigned April 29, 2016. Christine Polk, teacher, hired September 3rd, 2013 and resigned May 23rd, 2016. Carolyn Bowman, interim principal, reassigned to take a teaching position for the 2016-17 school year. Questions on the resignation? No. Retirement of instructional staff. Sharon Katz, teacher, hired 11/30/2037, retirement effective 6/30/2016. LaVoy Wilson, high school youth advocate, hired 9/7/1993, retirement effective 6/30/2016. Kathleen Knight, teacher, hired 10/16/1995, retirement effective 6/17/2016. Transfer of non-bargaining staff. Marion Edwards, administrative center secretary, transfer to CTE secretary at the high school position. 21st century grant personnel. Julie Earl, the 21st century program and grant manager, has written a letter which was already given to the personnel committee, indicating that for the 2016-2017 school year, the 21st Century Grant is being reduced by $135,000. Ms. Earl has asked to transition her staff from Benton Harbor area school staff to EDGE staff, which will free up about $100,000 of funds to further services to infant children.
Will, can you kind of explain to the board how that will save $100,000?
Well, when we take into account the retirement fees of the employees that are actually contracted with Benton Harbor, and I think too that there's other implications, and I think I'm going to ask my director to assist me in explaining exactly what the implications are and the savings.
So it is mainly the retirement savings.
Can you please come here?
Want to come with me, Joe?
Ms. Earl is so she actually calculated all the savings based on the number of employees that she wishes to have in her after-school program, which we are very happy to have. And so the majority of that is the savings that you would get as a result of not having to pay the more than 30% retirement fee. I don't know if you want me to share something.
My thinking is that because we lost one of our schools, that's where the loss of the funding came, not for any other reason. We're paid by site. And in order to, because we were having servicing 6 through 8 kids at each of the academies, we don't want to let any of those kids go when we move all the 6 through 8 kids to arts and communications. So I really want to increase the number there so that all the kids who have been in our program for the past 3 years and have shown retention and they're benefiting from it. I don't want them to drop off because we can only service 30 students there, and we've been 30 students per site. So I need to increase the funding in order to service the amount of children. And we calculated between 42 and 44% in benefits and retirement, and edu staff will only be charging 18%, which is over $100,000 savings that I could put into staffing so that we can accommodate more students at the 6 through 8 level.
You said 40% versus 18%?
42 to 44% versus 18%. Yeah, that's the difference.
Are you reducing your benefits then?
The only thing that they will do, they're all part-time, so they actually don't have life, vision, dental, anything they're losing. It's almost all retirement is where that money's coming from, and it's very, it is significant to the student body, but it's less significant to the actual staff members. And the other benefits are, I don't know if you remember that we lost, I had to let go of Richard Alexander, Clancy Kyle, a whole bunch of really quality paraprofessionals who work with our students very effectively. Because if they work in the district full-time, I can't have them work overtime in our program. And if I run the employees through edu staff, then I can pick those people up for a day or two a week to continue their work with the students in the after-school program, and it solves that problem for me as well. And it gives me a substitute pool. So right now, if any of my employees get sick, we have a huge problem because I'm not allowed to have substitutes. And this gives me, through edu staff, it means if someone's out sick for 3 days with the flu, I have someone to fill that position, and I don't have to be in a panic that our ratio is down to the licensing people come.
So through EduSoft, we could actually utilize then those substitutes that have signed up for the district, whether they're parapros or teachers, we can utilize them as a program for the substitutes.
Okay. That's really good. That
Sounds
sounds
like
like
a
a
couple
win.
of hours a day, that the
Mrs. Nomley?
Okay, I'm a little concerned about the percentage that you're voting is 42%, because I know the retirement is not 42%, and you're saying they're not getting benefits.
It's retirement and FICA. So you
Okay.
add it together. You also might want to think about the implication of not having the workman's comp attached to that also. There is a great liability at this time, so it would be a greater savings.
I realize that, but that also makes it unattractive to people.
Oh, how so?
Because you are taking away some purpose.
So these are people who don't work full-time or part-time, they're typically working less than 20 hours a week, you say that?
About 13 hours a week.
About 13 hours.
The only people who would possibly be negatively affected by this would be the site coordinators who are out closer to 20 to 25 hours a week. And they would lose a little bit in retirement. That would be the only downside, but putting students first.
But they will be told that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've actually already discussed this with the site coordinator team. We've had pretty candid talks about it.
Okay. Well, thank you both of you. Oh, Mr. Chairman.
So the teachers will have an opportunity to do some part-time as well?
Yeah, our current plan is I'll be utilizing some teachers for the summer program, but I know clinical teachers from the district PDs. And so funneling staff through EduStaff also provides me a way to hire teachers in and not take them away from the things they need to be doing through the district. And attending the PDs. And then we're planning on partnering with the extended prep day program in the fall is my hope. So that we'll be working in conjunction with them for the first hour with the teachers and our staff to provide more comprehensive academic support for more students. And then after that, we won't utilize teachers. We'll have enrichment activities like art, music, all these really neat enrichment activities that will come after the academic piece to keep students going with the teachers who need to stay.
The reason I mentioned that is recall one of the reasons that we suspended the $18 million SIG grant. We had people making much more than teachers, bachelor's and master's degree, and the teachers were getting an opportunity to participate. So I just want everything we're doing, that the teachers who are really taking that 10% cut 10 years ago and haven't got a raise. So any opportunity we give the teachers to be able to do some part-time. I was very moved by the teacher that came up last night, and she brought the children as well. And I'm just wanting us to stay thinking about that all the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Thank you.
You guys have any? No?
Before I go on to the layoffs, I'd like to note that sharing cats is actually sharing cats, K-N-T.
Oh,
No, sorry.
yeah, there's two.
Yes, so it's not cats, it's not cats.
teacher. This is the reading teacher. It's not.
No, it's sharing cats. Can we correct it?
K-A-T.
K-A-N-T.
K-A-N-T.
Correct.
You guys have a question?
Because I was here forever,
Okay.
is the hiring date correct? That's why I thought it was.
Sorry, it was me who made that error. And I looked up, it's the hiring date is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll need to fix that.
Oh, that's.
There are two that are the same within one letter
Yeah.
of their name. And so unfortunately, I'll take that one.
I know we wrote it, that's why that didn't make sense.
Thank you.
So it's not 11/30/77. So it will be amended, Marion.
So I just wanted to make note.
Right, we'll have to do an amendment to that. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Will, for that.
Moving on to the layoffs. To meet declining enrollment and reduce the deficit, and to repurpose title funding for more focused instructional and behavioral intervention, staff reduction must occur. The positions impacted are listed below, and the names of the individuals will be provided to the board prior to the meeting on June 14, 2016. Non-bargaining staff, a reduction of 24 staff. Professional staff, a reduction of 8 paraprofessionals. Teaching staff, a reduction of up to 14 teachers. You can see in parentheses, it says depending on student enrollment. So that's very impactful to remember. Administrative staff, reduction of the Montessori principal position due to the building closing. And if you turn the page, the proposed new positions were included in the presentation that Dr. Walker presented you all with last night regarding the restructuring. And that is the approval of the chief academic officer for rapid turnaround for Benton Harbor High School. And and the job descriptions are attached. Approval of behavioral intervention room specialist. Approval of pre-K and student support administrator. Approval of middle school assistant principal. Approval of student services director. Approval of executive assistant to the board and the superintendent. The job descriptions are attached.
So we're navigating between two things, right? Ms. Scully?
So with the reduction in staff and the restructuring, situation with the teachers, with the 14 teachers being reduced. So it's safe to say that all of the teaching positions that were vacant are filled.
No, that means the vacant positions that are existing right now will not be filled.
For teachers.
Correct.
So we'll lay off 14 teachers and not hire any other teachers to fill the positions of the classrooms that we don't have.
You have to take into consideration that there's a school also that's closing, so we'll be combining.
I can help answer that a little bit better. So what the staff have done is looked at all the teachers that we have, all the certifications that they have, and then also where we can assign them. And so the assignment has been, we're in the process of doing that assignment for staff in an effort to fill all positions that were vacant. We may end up with a couple that we'll still need to fill. Some of those hard to fill areas like special education, say mathematics, for instance. But it's our effort is to assign people based on their certifications, and obviously they've also had turned you to Dr. Walker some requests of where they would like to go in the reorganization.
So we'll have new positions for behavior intervention, so we don't have teachers.
So if I'm following your question, I'm sorry, it's a little difficult to hear you guys. So if I understand your question of the new positions in the behavior interventions program, but yet we may lose teachers. Did I understand?
But we don't have those teachers, so like, okay, why don't we have teachers, like, for instance, geometry at high school for kids, I think it's the algebra teacher for the 11th graders, they don't have teachers. What is the situation, teachers for that position?
Right, so as Mrs. Harlow said, when we looked at all the certifications, we actually have some teachers that carry certifications and we're not working in that area. So we may have had to make some of the positions that have a specialty behind them, like a math position. We would have to hire out because we have no number of house that has that certification. If I'm again following your question, so
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I understand that we are restructuring our district and we are creating new positions, to impact student achievement. However, student discipline, student achievement, because we brought up, the test scores as well last night as a result of behavioral issues impacting learning. So that's student achievement, student behavior. So I'm saying with our restructuring and alignment, how can we hire these services and then hire these different people and have these different job descriptions, not allocate money towards core subject learning that would impact test scores? So that's just a question.
So again, if I'm understanding, the additional supports that are provided here are non-instructional teachers, because again, going back to like the question you asked last night about that ratio of students that we expect to have in our enrollment, and you look at the ratio of teachers to those students, and you look at the staffing in each of those buildings, you still need the leadership and the overall oversight to ensure that that fidelity to that programming and those structures occur. So if I'm again understanding your question, when I think about the behavior intervention room specialist, for example, that type of a position, yes, as Ms. McGowan pointed out last night, the law may require us to have a teacher in that room as well. But we also are hopeful that we can place someone in there that has a special certification that's focused on that therapeutic approach to get at both. Because you're right, in terms of students whose behaviors are struggling, but still maintaining their need to have academic supports and to support them in the classroom. So the reorganization of these positions, and again, I'm understanding that these are positions that will support the work to ensure that we maintain academic rigor and that we maintain robust behavioral interventions and structures to support our children.
But then, so you said it's gonna be like $7 a math tutor, so that means all 10th grade, all 11th grade will be in that class for the math tutor because they don't know how to teach.
No. So when you talk about the academic advisement, again, so if you think about all of us that are in an advisement, you know, the 3 of these guys may go get some help in math, the next 3 of you may go get some help in English language arts. The 3 of us may go and stay in the room with the teacher and spend some time working on study skills. And then the last 2 may actually do some enrichment. So when you talk about academic advisement, now you're pulling on the whole, really, but in that building, those teachers' skills and abilities to support our children across a multitude of needs to ensure that our children are successful. So the advisement time is not an academic time, it's a support time, but it's called an academic advisor. Some kids might just do a study where they have a chance to work on their homework. So again, they go over here and get help with math, so that's not an area that they're strong in. And again, if we have the right teachers serving, I'm thinking high school in particular, serving our students in algebra, so then that teacher would be one that would have a lab, that second period that's open for students to come in and get extra support.
Ms. Gillian, one thing you were also asking about recruitment efforts, just to let you know, the HR department is diligently working to get those hard to fill positions, like math, geometry, Spanish, or,
So if there is an opening in that, we intend to fill it. I think was that your question? Are we gonna fill
Right,
those?
that would be a priority
Correct.
to fill, because my thing is, you have the staff going through professional development, because we are now with the different curriculum. So that is a hard thing to adjust for our staff, because, we did it in the middle of the school year, we changed it. So now, with the existing staff that we have, is gonna go to professional development, and if we don't fill this position, will that teacher be able to just grasp the concepts of what we have structured our school district for, to get this new way of learning, this new math that they have to do, and all the new concepts that they have to have. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, maybe our focus shouldn't be on just that. It should also be on getting those teachers as well, and making sure that we have the money, the funds to actually pay them.
And we do have those open, those needed positions that we haven't been able to fill, like we need transfers, and we need those positions, those we are looking for people.
And none of the 14 teachers qualify.
You mean the certification for those positions?
Certification, are certified for that.
Correct.
And math is a very specialized position. So there's hard to find staff in math. As a matter of fact, we use the Department of Education website, and list mathematics as one of those areas for teachers. So it's very hard to find.
You're talking about at the secondary level?
Yes.
Because
Because K through 8, K through 5, all you need just your elementary.
Yeah, but they even have that for K through 8, right?
So for.
Do they have those K-8 certifications? Do they have to be specifically in the core target area
It just depends.
for 7th and 8th grade?
Yes, for 7th and 8th grade, we're restructuring it, yes, they are, they have to have.
Okay.
Mathematics.
So that's the same with the secondary level, they have to have those to teach that. Okay,
Thank
so you guys have math teachers up to what grade?
If I'm not mistaken, high school is, I think we need one math teacher in high school based on certifications.
So right now, we're lacking one secondary math certificated teacher. You said 2?
There's 2, it's just 2. Yeah, there's one, needed at the middle school level, where it's structured, and then one needed at the high school.
You guys have any questions?
No, we understand. Only as old people have K-8 certification anymore.
Oh, okay.
But they changed that.
Well, I just have no questions about the behavior intervention room specialist. Now these people, looking at the job description, you're asking for a bachelor's degree or higher in education, counseling, social work, psychology, sociology. Did you people who may be a social worker or a psychologist or a sociologist?
Well, actually,
Is there any data to prove that a sociologist would be considering being a interventionist room specialist?
you have to be a licensed professional to do that position.
I'm saying, how likely? We're struggling to get teachers. Now you guys have added to that, you want a licensed psychologist. Like a doctor in the room.
Not like a doctor, but like a social worker. And,
Well, I'm just going by your language, you said psychology and sociology. I didn't mean like that.
There are some people that will graduate from a program that have a psychology degree in psychology, but they're still maybe working toward or have decided to stop at that level. So the point that I think you're hearing Ms. Wood referencing that is that they need to be agreed in that area, where they've done some study in that area that will allow them to have support of understanding of behaviors and working with students that are less academic.
So have we had any community meetings, any parent meetings, to see how our parents feel about their children being structured in a room under a psychologist? Or, I mean, where are you coming up with this idea that you think you need a psychologist to become an interventionist? I don't get that, because the people that are now interventionists are all degree professionals, all have a relationship with our student body, with our staff, and I know that counts for something. Because you're talking about bringing in psychologists and a sociologist, look like some clinical diagnosing is gonna go on, maybe even referring, because they come with license and they come with an oath. And so there are certain things that they have to do and to report when they're diagnosing, and they believe they see this type of behavior in a student. I'm just really wondering who populated this idea?
Okay, so I love it, absolutely, I stand behind it my entire professional career as an avenue or conduit to support our classroom instruction. So to answer your first question, yes, the program was presented, the idea was presented to our parents through several community forums. They had an opportunity to ask questions, to give input, and it was received favorably that our intent to keep our students in school and not suspend them, but at the same time, not just put them in a room. I don't know about some of you, but I'm kind of old too, Ms. Carmen, and I remember many a day where you had a cubicle, about 12 of them in a room, you stuck a kid in a cubicle, and they sat there for some days facing the wall and just didn't work. That's not what we're looking to do. So to bring in the concept of intervention, to bring in the concept of having persons that have agreed, the idea is that these people have had an opportunity to understand behaviors and to understand how students may not perform in an academic setting and the why behind that. But these people will not be the clinicians, to your point. So for example, we have a partnership with Intercare, which is right out here, and Intercare provides services to our students. Intercare has a licensed, social worker. Would be for those students who fall outside that tier 3. If you go back to last night's presentation, in our educational setting, we want to have levels of how you support students. So that tier 1 level is what we call that universal structure. That's the PBIS that we spoke about yesterday, positive behavior interventions, so that all structures within our buildings, whether a student is in the 2nd grade or the 5th grade, when they're in that school, there are some things they just know are expected behavioral conditions, okay? So then students who don't affiliate to that, you start looking at that level 2. That's the situation where that student may then encounter the administrator, or that the student may, the parent may become involved. At that point, if the student is still not evidencing that they are able to conform, acclimate, get along within the classroom setting, now you're looking at that level 3. At that point, those are situations where generally your administrator is going, I might need to send the student home. This behavior is so significant that it's interrupting instruction in the classroom, and the interventions that we have done within the school that are expected things that we as educators should do have not been successful. So the pitch is, instead of sending that child home, you place them in school, but in an environment that allows you to take that time, meaning those teachers that are staffing that room, to discern what's the root of the behavior. They're not clinicians who have psychologist degrees like that, the type that are therapeutic. My sister's a psychologist, for example. She has, a PhD behind her name. Those are doctors. We can't afford those. I would love that, but we can't afford them. These are people, though, who have training in understanding behavior and how the experiences of a child can impact their behavior. And whether it's stress the child is enduring, whether it's trauma, whether it's, I've seen Susie fall out enough that I want to get the attention she's got, right? So discerning that right now is a burden on the classroom teacher instructional. So the intent behind this program is to relieve that burden on the classroom teacher, give that child an opportunity to not be sent home, but to have people in their midst who do care about them. So absolutely, to your point, persons who have been in this district, I would hope that they would find this an attractive opportunity to continue to serve our children because of those relationships and that skill set, but it's serving in a different capacity under a different structure that allows them to really dig in and try to help students who may demonstrate that they're not successful. And then to your point, if a child doesn't acclimate that, and now you're outside of those, you're in that tier 3 level, which is significant, where you would go to an intercare and you may ask a specialist there to then sit down and work with that student and their parent to try to triage what I call what may be additional causes to that behavior. So that's the system that we're speaking of.
Okay, so basically, with all that being said, the people that we have that are social workers and that have degrees and master's degrees, basically what you're saying is they're not good enough and you need to look for other people. Because these are degreed academic professionals. I mean, just like within your case, being an assistant superintendent, never having been a superintendent, you're training, you got mentors, people are helping and shaping you. I mean, you don't think that these degree professionals can be trained to do tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? It doesn't sound like it's real difficult. It sounds like it's something that the professional staff that we currently have, that know our children and know our family and are very relatable to them and very successful with them, and parents trust them with their children. Yet and still, you're asking us to dismiss these degree professionals so you can go out and look for degree professionals. I mean, you can make it make sense to me if you try, but I mean, right now I'm not getting it. So we can move on. Oh, Mrs. Mommy.
Which job description are you referencing? Is it the behavior intervention room specialist?
Yeah, behavior intervention room specialist.
Because if I read it, that's only requiring a bachelor's, it's not requiring licensing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many of our people that get laid off that have their bachelor's in these areas would be eligible to apply for the job.
Including displaced teachers.
Okay, so any of our employees that have certification or degrees in this area would be eligible to apply. Okay.
So then, to the point again, why is it necessary to do the layoff? I'm not understanding. Is it going to, you're gonna come up with a new salary? Is that what that's what the hidden thing is supposed to be?
Did you say hidden?
Yeah, because that means that's not on here. I'm saying that's the thing that's not covered in here, so it's hidden from us. We can't see it. So is it the salary that's going to change?
It's an entirely different program than usual.
I mean, is the salary going to change? That's a yes or no. Is the salary going to change?
They're going to be under the teacher's contract if I'm speaking correct. No, not this one.
So I think, I know that, I would say potentially, but I'm not investigating that, I'm find out if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, if you could send the salary to the entire board, along with the salaries of the degree professionals that we have currently working in these positions. So
Yes, I provided the letter, that was asked for.
Oh, it's in, oh, okay, so it's in section 3, the new section. Okay, so we just need the other. Okay, that one, all right. So, Ms. Woolley, you're on, oh, Mr. Mitchell?
Question, in all the job descriptions that I see, under terms of employment, it references the length of employment and also references salary and benefits as established by the Board of Education. I'm just wondering, when will that be established?
We are in the process of putting together the salary structure, so that will be given to the Board of Education prior to next week's meeting.
So you're not expecting us to make a decision next week, because you're gonna give it to us next week, right?
Well, I'm saying that we're gonna give it to you prior to next week's meeting.
Oh, prior to next week. Okay, so we'll get all the information prior to, before we come to the table. That's wonderful. Ms. Mommy?
Like you're asking questions in your head, okay?
I think so. Go on. Oh, we have, wait a minute. Did we go through everything? Okay, it was the one thing that I wanted to make sure that the board saw, because, Mrs. Harlow sent us an email indicating that she had, made a mistake and forgotten the one job description, so it wasn't in your original package, so I'm just highlighting it so you remember to look it over when you get a chance. Okay. Yeah, it will be in the new one, right? So, I think I'm on the wrong agenda. Okay, so we're moving on to central administration, and that will entail the intergovernmental agreement renewal / bearing a recess after contract, financial and educational plan in Harbor High School for the 16-17 school year, dual language school of choice, behavior intervention program in Rome, advisory periods for the 6th to 12th grades, added to daily instruction schedule, and the chief academic officer for rapid turnaround at the high school, along with conflict of interest policy, and that's Troon Law Firm. Are they going to get your thing about here? Okay, well, either one of you. I don't know if that'll be Mrs. Gully, Mrs. Gully, or Troon, Mr. Gardner. And then we have the Michigan High School Athletic Association membership.
Thank you. So, the intergovernmental agreement, those that are part of the subcommittee of human resources, Dr. Irish came, and he offered an opportunity for questions. So again, this is just put before the board to sign off on the agreement to maintain varying services, human resources, and technology.
Okay, thank you. You guys have questions?
I know what I got. Oh, okay. Right. You have any questions?
Yes, I have a question, but I will submit it to the superintendent for an answer prior to next Tuesday's meeting.
Okay.
I don't want to take the time of the board, this evening.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
So if they don't, I do want to add that, I know there's been some conversation and questions going on, the 2%, raise to the bearing recess staff when our district isn't able to afford the same. So, still getting answers, but do want to inform the board as you process through these forms that in the, agreement with bearing recess, if the board were to decide to take a different path, you still have to give a 6-month notice. And so, my point being that we would be in a position to really explore your questions and really get some answers and see how this intergovernmental agreement is supporting Benton Harbor or ways that we can improve. So just want to make sure you have that information as well.
I certainly had that.
I'm sorry, Sandy.
So yes, I did have that.
Okay, you said 2%.
Yes, it was shared last night that trustee Mitchell had raised the question.
Oh, yeah.
So we're still, gathering information about all of that from last night, but just wanted to make sure we did remember that if you want to do something different, when you have the information that you need, you still have to do a 6-month notice. So we still, one of the, is it HR's contract expires in 2016? No. Yes, HR contract expires in 2016, and the business and technology in 2017.
Okay. Mr. Turner.
Yes, I had the privilege of being on the negotiating team when I first arrived. And so I can talk from experience, not knowing what's going on now, but I do know that some of the things that are being negotiated now, we really can't get that information out right now because negotiations are going on in terms of raises or possible, things like that.
Oh, you mean for teachers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, because of negotiations then, okay. Yeah, well, I have a question. I mean, we have, like, for the 2016-17 school year, this proposal for secretary with the total compensation being $63,965. And I'm thinking like less their benefits, that'd be somewhere near like $40,000 for the secretary. When our secretaries make $14 an hour, I think some of them may even make 12. So I'm trying to make that make sense.
Secretary and HR department is $15 an hour. That's a comparable amount, even less than the other secretaries with very good stuff.
No, I'm just saying what it has here. It says vacant, secretary, $63,965 total compensation. So you're saying that's not a true figure, they only make 15?
No, I can answer to that.
Thank you, Ms. Turtle.
So actually what we.
Is it all, Ms. Turtle?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
So what we are doing is doing a little bit of restructuring and looking at doing something a little different in there. And so we're having some conversations about some things we can do differently along with Mr. Johnson. And so we'll be able to share some more information with you as we go along. But we are trying to do some adjustments.
Also, that's not probably gonna even happen with that secretary position, is that what you're saying?
We're looking at restructuring things just a little bit. I can say that for you at this point. We actually just had a conversation today, so. But what we did is we took that position to be less like a secretary and more like doing benefits and things like that.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't even know what that means, but okay. We're gonna continue restructuring, that's what you're saying, right?
Correct.
So do we need to just disregard this, what we have and wait on
If there's
something?
any changes to be made, we'll be sure to get them through with Dr. Alvarez.
Okay, all right.
At the moment, this is what it looks like right now. And so while it says secretary, it is really something that's a little bit more than that does benefits and that also.
Okay, well, we'll wait to get your new. Is it gonna come to us before next week though?
Well, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, because,
But that's why that position was listed slightly different, even though it says secretary, really is like somebody who takes on more responsibility, that's benefits and setbacks also.
okay, because it shows that there's a cost savings, but when you do the side-by-side comparison and you look at the compensation packages, and I get your numbers, I get your numbers, but, I mean, when you look at them in another way, that we all know how to look at them, it's not actually what you see here. Because if y'all have a person that was doing a job at 45,000 in the district, then outside the district, Teresa, this person is getting like 60,000 or something like that. So, I mean, it's a different way to compute it, but we'll wait on for you to give us.
I'll be happy to clarify for you with secretary if you wanted some email or some different way of doing it, I'd be happy to share that with you.
Okay, all right, thank you so much, Ms. Carol, we really appreciate that. Okay, so we'll move on to with Dr. Walker, she's going on.
Okay, so last night, the leadership team shared with the board our educational and financial plan for the 2016-17 school year. And we are required to bring that to the board for approval. And so within that approval, we have several specific areas that require your action and approval. So as soon as I get my computer there, we're going to begin with the Doe Language School of Choice. If you recall, so yes, we're going to ask for your consideration next week for approval of the entire plan, and specifically within that plan, the Doe Language School of Choice. As you recall, last night I shared that we would like to see our whole International Center become dually utilized for our K-2 students for an academic site, but then for our students whose parents be interested in them learning in Spanish and in English to become an actual school. And so I don't know if there are any questions about that program specifically. This is where we would like the board's approval to also recruit for students outside of the Benton Harbor area for the Marion community, throughout the Marion community.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat that the plan, included the growth of the dual language. You know, because initially it sounded like it was gonna be like K2 hub, but that's just where it's gonna start. And then I guess next year you'll later on, does that mean every year you'll need a new employee in those centers?
This is a great question. Thank you for asking, President James. There are two pieces to the dual language. You have the dual language center itself, where those students who are in the kindergarten through second grade will have an opportunity to learn Spanish, about the Spanish culture, and understand Spanish. That's at home. That will remain at home. For parents who want their children to learn in a dual language, that's going to be what we're proposing, a dual language school. So it's two different programs. The K2 Spanish teacher component is that value add, that's that attraction piece to bring our kindergarten through second grade parents into Benton Harbor, specifically to know that their students are going to be exposed to another language throughout the course of their instruction on a daily basis. That's specific to home.
Okay. So it'll be in the K2, but when they go to 3-5, you'll have someone there and they go
That
to
is
stay.
school choice. If they want to stay immersed in the.
Also, they have to go home.
Correct. Home will not just be K-2. The school of choice is a school. So it will accommodate all students who choose to stay in that structure beyond second grade. Okay?
So then code will be, does that affect our code? You know, we get the school code assigned to us. Will that affect the code any way, Ms. Robinson?
Right now, we're going to change the code because the schools in the school, but it would if we change the code. So all of the, yeah, so it'll still be overall party that code.
Okay. Because if we get a code change, then we have to go through another choosing, yeah, that's what I thought, okay.
Process.
All right, Ms. Dillon?
So this is slated to open up in the fall.
Correct. If we all approve it, we would take the school program that we currently piloted this year under Mr. Diaz. And those students from the data that is showing in our meetings, families have expressed an interest in not moving, which is a part of what triggered this. We noted that we had 30 students, families that reported they may leave the Benton Harbor schools if they had to leave the whole. And we have indication that it could bring in an additional 50 students. So in our consent agreement, we're also required to report how we plan to attract students. So this is going to also fulfill the consent agreement requirement. And so it's going to be a program from this year that will become an actual school.
Okay, so the colors in the high summers and the fourth grade. People going to home. So
The
they
dual
go
language
to
school.
school.
So you're in the ninth grade.
So he's a theater. He's in the third.
You know what I'm saying? Are you saying you can stay there all the way till you get to, when it's time for him to go to high school?
It depends on the numbers, because obviously staffing is a variable, right? So right now, we're looking at, because our dual language program has been based at home, it's been primarily K-2. We may have some students in other buildings, Eddie, to your point, that may be interested, and then we'll adjust staffing accordingly, but we don't have any way at this point to predict what that would actually be. But to your point, yes, if you as a parent said, you know, I would like my child to participate in the dual language school, then you could absolutely apply to become a part of that school within home. Yes,
So then if you guys don't retain, if you don't get that number that you need, then that next year for that next grade, you won't have it, right?
well, we can also look at some possible scheduling. We're gonna have to possible sort of, yes, it could be that at some point we don't have the students, and so yeah, we would have to have conversations.
Okay, so the number that was given in the presentation, on the paper here somewhere, but that class will look like 22 students.
We would have, if this flows as we anticipate, we'll have multiple classes. So you might have kindergarten, first grade, then you might have a classroom that has the second and third grade, a classroom. Because we have to be mindful of our budget restraints, and so we can only allow so much financially to commit to this in order to get the children.
So
We get a lot of
that's
children.
That's self-contained, right? Okay. That's great. Mr. Turner.
Comment. A couple of Sundays ago, with Mr. Diaz, and I spoke to about more than 150 people, families, about the multilingual and global. And my charge was to talk about how important it is to actually have. One of the things that you all would really like to see these little kids, they can actually speak Spanish. And so they're learning to read and write Spanish already. And one of the stories I shared is one of my sons is so crucial. Harvard University got a degree in Romance languages. I wanted him to be a lawyer. I was curious. But I didn't know his minor was economics, and he went to work in investment banking in Robinson Stephens. And they were merging a Brazilian bank, a French bank, and Latin America. He was the only one. And at 24 years old, he was wealthy financially. And that's why it's so important that these languages come in. And the other part is this. It helps the kids because they said, well, my mother can't speak Spanish, my father can't speak Spanish, my friends can't, I must be pretty smart. And we found that it really, really helps the kids because they feel better about themselves, they feel more accomplished and things like that. So it's a pretty deep situation like this going on there. I expect it to really blossom.
Are there any more questions, comments, concerns before Dr. Walker moves on?
Thank you. Again, we talked about the program, the intervention program and the rules for each building. So the proposal would be that you would support that. Another reason for the changes, we have to allocate the funding to be able to show, because our budget again has to be approved through Treasury, through the consent agreement and board. So in order to show that we are providing this type of a program, we have to be able to show that we can actually do it. This will allow us to ensure as best as we can that students are not being sent home unless they truly pose a danger to themselves or others, which is just sending most kids home once they hit that cap. So. The next report is about the advisory periods, as we've discussed as well. That's where we're asking to put a 7th hour onto the student schedule, 6th to 8th grade. 6th to 12th grade, I'm sorry, it does not require additional planning or prep time for our teachers. It is an opportunity and a wonderful portal for us to enrich our students or to provide interventions and a host of other opportunities without minimizing interruptions to their instructional day. We will provide support to our athletic programming so students are not missing 4 classes. They should have to be in day earlier. So it just affords some opportunities for our district to support our children at another level. We talked about also the relief to the general fund budget because we through NDE are able to use a portion of the title dollars to pay for the salaries of those staff that would be engaged in the purchase, which would be all staff.
Yeah, wonderful.
Do we provide that? I think we either provided that or we're going to provide it. The question was asked, so I was on that list. I ran. I was right. But I know the question was asked. So it's either in the information we gave you today or we're going to send it to you.
Is there a question down there?
We're just discussing what do we need to do with breaks.
Just having a little purpose party. Oh, you guys were doing it a little while ago. Remember. I'm sorry, Dr. Walker, the boards sometimes get a little goofy when we sit here too long. So we apologize, we're gonna maintain ourselves, right? Absolutely, wonderful. Okay.
The Chief Academic Officer for Rapid Turnaround, we shared those last night as well. Again, being responsible to the school reform office and the intent to take over our high school. So intentionally planning and showing evidence of a different approach to rapidly turn around our high school. Only having the 2 years to evidence real growth in our achievement. This is an opportunity for us to continue to move forward in Benton Harbor, but at the same time respond to the accountability measures that they enforce.
Mr. Trevor, this is mine.
My comment was that we actually, when I arrived, January 15th, we actually had a turnaround officer And he never got a chance to do it, so I'm really excited about what's happening here now.
I hope that when we're looking for this person, that when they say they have all this experience, they do so well, that we search for that data to prove that they really turned something around. Because we've got people who are, oh, they're really good, and they talk good, but there was nothing to back up the proof that they really turned.
Right.
Well, I went through the job description and I don't see where you guys are asking for an experienced turnaround person, a person that has turned around a school. They actually have done it. And you can retrieve all of their information and the board will be able to review it and see it and know that this person actually has done this before. Otherwise, this is like a crap game to me. You know, you throw some dice out and see what you get. So let's see some evidence. You guys have any other questions?
We can add that to the job description.
And actually, Madam President, as I suggested some time before, actually go see.
Oh, like you did tell us before, which can I
Go
serve
see.
You're absolutely right. We should have listened to you on that. Well, not on that. I'm trying to think it up, yes. Keep that as well.
And then I would turn over the next one to
Me. Okay, before you tonight, we have the board of entry policy that I emailed to everybody. So I hope you all had a chance to review it. Kind of self-explanatory. Is there anybody who has any questions on to make any changes?
Do we just all go and just sign the form and have it filed, or do you just do it 7 days prior to?
And we want to sign it at the meeting and then,
Good afternoon.
Just a moment. This is Mr. Gardner, you guys, he's an attorney with Trim Law Firm, just so that you know and understand who's speaking.
Yes. So, on December 8th, 2013, the governor signed the conflict of interest policy. It's now section 1203 of the revised school code. Policy that's provided essentially reflects, mirrors that revised school code. And in the back, on the last page, there's a disclosure form. The disclosure form had the date of June 30th, where you have to meet and then fill out and disclose whether you have a conflict of interest. And this would be for the board members. So that's what that last page is. It kind of has a signature at the back. And it says you have to submit that to the office of the superintendent, who will be Dr. Walker. So that's kind of what that form was for.
So will we be able to use this form, or is this just a sample form and you guys will produce?
You can certainly use that form, and it's ready to go now.
There's something on the other side of it, so are they gonna produce, new forms?
We certainly can, absolutely. We can produce it.
Because you have to have it by June 30th, is that correct?
That would be preferred, but if obviously we know the board process, if we're not don't get it done by then, we might have to change the dates, but we would like for it to be done if possible.
Expiration term?
It says by June 30th on the form right now.
No, I'm saying, once you sign it, does the form, last for a year? What's the record retention on it? Does our secretary, how long does she have to keep it?
Usually lasts for a year, and then if there is a change, for example, like you get married to someone you get married, let's say next week or something, then obviously you have to do an amendment and notify or disclose that, I've been married and this person is, for example, a teacher in the district, so I have to disclose that, you have to vote on a collective bargaining agreement, for example, in July. You certainly want that to be disclosed so it can be on record and you have something in the records of the office of superintendent. So
that's what is kind of narrowed down to if you have a family member that's in the CBA?
No, the conflict of interest policy that we have kind of defines conflicts, so it has a spouse, child, parents, so it goes down the list of specific relationships, not only for family, but also for financial. So that's in section 1 of that board policy.
But I'm saying, in reading it, it looked like it was saying that this was about people who were in the collective bargaining unit. If you had a family member who was within the collective bargaining unit, then you had to do a disclosure. But if you have a family member who's making hamburgers for the kids, do you have to do it then too?
I don't know, I don't think so.
So the law didn't read like it, it mentioned CPA, so that's why I was.
It also, though, covers, for example, let's say we do a contract for, let's say, EDGE staff, somebody, some company like that, and you have a financial interest for one reason or another in EDGE staff, you have to disclose that in that disclosure form. So there are all types of, there are examples, not only just looking at collective bargaining agreements, but also contracts and other types of situations that you have with the board.
So it's very broad.
It's broad, and again, if you have questions about this policy, obviously, I'm sure Dr. Walker would be more than willing to entertain it. We'll try to work together to get you a response as quickly as possible for that next board meeting. So,
Well, thank you so much, Attorney Brown. You've been helpful, sir.
thank you for your time.
So the last item to ask your approval is for our association with Michigan Athletic Association. And so I'm sure that's a routine yearly event.
The membership pool? Do we know the cost of the membership stuff when they go up in? Okay, thank you. At this time. So you know the new rules, right? So. Yes, Mr. wasn't there. So Mr. Mitchell, I'm just gonna share with you the new rule. And the new rule is that we vote to go into closed session, have to have 2/3 votes. But we do not have to come back out and reconvene. We will go straight back into our board business without doing all that extra vote. That's a new lesson that we learned in our most recent training we had last Saturday.
So I want to ask Tim, is that correct? Because we got that from Michigan Association School Board and then our attorneys. Since you're our attorney, I want to make sure we verify the duty.
That you voting to go into closed session.
But they said we didn't have to reconvene and, vote to go back into open session. So I never heard of that because I know the Open Meetings Act doesn't say that. So I want to make sure since you're here.
From my understanding, you have to vote when you come back into open session. Typically, when you come out of closed session, typically you're voting to approve an item that maybe, or take a board action.
Well, that's what she said, but in this particular case, we're not voting on anything today.
Okay.
So, are you making sure that we're legal, sir?
Yes, you are legal,
going
yes.
regular?
So if you're not taking action today, then you can reconvene and then move forward with the agenda.
Okay.
But I mean, to me, so yeah, but there are 2 items on the agenda for closed session today, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Keep it the same, keep it the same.
Oh, no, Dr. Walker, she said the change of, the change of start time. You have that one?
Oh, there's the old, oh, okay.
Change of start time.
It's not, okay, that's, I got one yesterday, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so let me say, I don't have it. Okay. So at this time, the chair is now entertaining a motion to go into closed session with 2 law firms to discuss specifically litigation for 2 personnel matters. Nothing more, nothing less. So the chair now entertains that motion. I move that we,
It's actually litigation, and there are two separate matters, 2 separate personnel matters that have to be decided too. So there's litigation, and then there's 2 personnel matters.
Oh, so the litigation is not about this, it's litigation and the
2
2
personnel
separate
matters, so yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start eating my weeds so I can get my memory right.
Just wanted to, yes, make sure the record is clear.
Question, so when we say personnel matter, if it's dealing specifically with the person, then that person has the right to say whether they want to go into closed session or have an open session. Is that correct?
They did ask for closed session.
Okay.
We have the individual that is already here in the present, from my understanding.
Okay.
So the chair entertains a motion to go into closed session with True Law Firm for litigation and to personnel.
I move that the board go into closed session for litigation and to personnel matters.
I second.
So we did all right, so, the motion to go into closed session with True Law Firm regarding litigation and personnel matters has been moved by Mark Momney and seconded by Lisa Gully.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Course of 2017 to help build capacity of understanding and use to ensure that proper timely and effective feedback to teachers around their work is there. So this was one that's purposeful, and then conclude by
Okay, and for the board committee reports, you guys, you want to?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, so Mary, we're gonna amend that part.
Nobody objects.
Oh, well, Ms. Gully walked away, Mr. Turner walked away, so I don't know, so we're gonna move on. So that'll be next time, okay? Anybody have any other? No other? Wonderful. All right, that being said, to me,
Hey, y'all can have no public comment.
Every day we
yeah,
try
we just have to beginning of the meeting now.
Huh?
We did it at the beginning. You missed it, sir.
I was here to begin. How?
The one was there. Let's roll.
She got
It was Deborah